Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's The Journey So Far. We are going to be talking to Nikki Carr, who is the director of Ruby Ashley Stationery. It's a great fun company. I think she's just joined us, so let's get her involved in the convo. Get her in. Soon. Yes, she's here. Welcome, Nikki. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, can you hear me? Let me
Yep.
just adjust this phone so I can see you so you can see me. So I was just telling everybody about what you do. You are the director of Ruby Ashley, which is a fun, creative stationery brand. And we're here to talk about your journey so far and what led you onto this journey of entrepreneurship.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, can you just let us know a bit about you and how you came on this? How did Ruby Ashley start, basically?
Okay. Yeah, a bit about my I suppose Ruby Ashley's come about because myself and my partner, started testing Amazon as a platform some years ago,
Mm.
a couple of years ago, and we sort of decided that we just wanted to test it to start off with. So we just did some random products just to sort of see how the platform worked, what was involved, what we could do with it, etc. And then about a year ago now, my partner, he's incredibly creative, and he decided that he wanted to put his creativity to use and create some unique products. And that's how Ruby Ashley was actually born, because he's a creative person. It's a great outlet. We know that Amazon's got incredible reach, so we were quite inspired to just test it out and see where we went with it. So since we started doing that, we just sort of he's just sort of started producing more and more products, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't work, seeing what customers liked, understanding
Mm.
what that perfect combination of getting great value product, nice designs, and excellent customer service, which are really our core values, just generally, like as a consumer, but also as people as well. We want to make sure that whatever we're putting out is of quality. So that's kind of how Ruby Ashley came about. So through creativity and also using Amazon's reach to just get to as many people as possible, it being the biggest marketplace.
What a unique kind of, this is probably one of the uniquest stories we've had so far because generally people that come on, they kind of, go down similar route to myself, set up their businesses, and we haven't had, partners either yet, where they come on and they basically create something through a sales funnel such as Amazon. They normally just go off and do their own thing. And yeah, I'm quite intrigued because obviously at Mama C we've always talked about maybe going on that journey as well. So how did you kind of find that? Is it like a typical business journey? Do you find yourself kind of picking up your business strategies the same way, or do you get a little bit of help from Amazon? Like, how does that work?
So it's an interesting one. I think with
Mm.
Amazon, got to really, I think the key for us was just really understanding the system, because
Mm.
it is quite different. So over the years, we've had a number of different businesses. So I think my
Right.
my first sort of entry into business from a little kid, going into my neighbours' gardens and finding stones. Myself and my best friend would wash the stones and then we'd go and sell them back to the neighbours.
Smart girl.
That's one of our first little things going in. And then actually
Love it.
I was really inspired by my dad to go into business, because he was a
Yeah.
business owner and also an entrepreneur. And I think at 17, I just decided that I wanted to start my own business, but I didn't know what it would be.
Mm.
At
Mm.
about 23, I had my son at 21. At
Mm.
23, I set up my first business, which was called Baby Babble. And that was
Mm.
business. And I think that's kind of come from a similar angle to what you've done with Mama Sia, in that you
Mm.
wonderful idea, and then it's your, it's obviously it's a passion of yours, and then you sort
Mm.
of put it out there to the masses. But again, it was, so the Amazon's a little, for us, this Amazon project was a little bit more different because we were really intrigued about Amazon, the marketplace, and how entrepreneurs are exploiting this marketplace, which has got reach. So yeah, so throughout the years we've tried so many different things. We've done sort of legal documents, we've done lots of different sort of things online, and I suppose that's kind of keyed us up to where we are now, all of that experience that we've gained across the years.
Yeah.
So in our careers, so my I had a career in digital marketing for a big agency in London, and then my partner, he's a web developer as well. So our kind of sort of things sort of came together. So we wanted to create a business that we could build, and that's why we sort of jumped on the Amazon thing. And with regards to them helping you, yes, there is a lot of help there. There's a lot of training webinars. It's come along massively since we first started. So I think what we started doing is we started finding people who were specialists in Amazon, started listening to podcasts and reading books and watching YouTube videos, that sort of stuff, just to kind of understand what it's all about. And then sort of fine-tuned it. Then we sort of thought, right, done some test products, let's go for something which is more something that we can grow and make into a bigger thing. And that's through the creativity and just trial and error. That's how we came up with Ruby Ashley.
Amazing. I mean, I love the fact that you've gone on this journey, and so you're a natural entrepreneur as well, which, you know, sometimes people just think you might have come across an opportunity and said, okay, I'm going to go down this route, but really that entrepreneurial spirit is deep within you. You know, you can see from how you even described your childhood, and then now you're embarking on this journey with your partner where you have skills that actually complement each other. How is that working with your partner? How is it?
He's listening. It's great. No.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting. I think we've been together for 26 and a half years.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. It's amazing.
So it in and of itself has been a journey, and I think that anybody who's been in a relationship with someone will realize that there's the peaks and the troughs and all that sort of stuff that kind of goes with it. And so we've very much always sort of tried to make sure that we've got a good line of communication. So we more recently, where we've sort of established Ruby Ashley and realized that we want to really grow this, we've had systems in place to make sure that we are accountable to one another. So it's wonderful working with your partner, but it definitely has hurdles that you need to overcome. You know, it's difficult. You've got to separate your family life from your work life. But now, as you know, everyone's working from home and at home all the time. So I think carving out our own spaces. So I'm fortunate in that, well, fortunate and unfortunate, but I've got my own space in the house. So my son recently moved out, which means I took his bedroom and I turned it into my own office. And honestly, it is, I mean, I miss him, but it's only 3 minutes. That's cool. But it's been, I think, having your own space, and then so that in and of itself is just basically creating your own boundaries, because don't always want to be talking about business. So he might want to start talking about it at like 7:30 at dinner. I don't want to talk about that. I just want to, you know what I mean? So it's about creating boundaries, and even just saying, look, let's not talk about this now. Let's talk about it later. And actually what we've also had to do is create meetings. So we have, even though he's upset, so we create meetings. We work in 2-week sprints, and we have times scheduled. So when we're catching up on sprints, don't get me wrong, we can talk. We don't need to have a meeting just that. But if we're coming towards the end of a sprint and we're planning the next sprint, then we make sure we've got meetings in the calendar so that we are focused on what we've got to get done, because we've got quite an aggressive growth strategy planned. So in order for us to achieve that, we've got to be like this, you know.
So you've just touched on, basically, I forgot to tell everybody, we were actually planning on talking about accountability and the methods that we use, and you've obviously just touched on it. But I do enjoy these talks because sometimes they just come into their own being, which is how it should be. I think sometimes when, you know, business people meet, they feel, or from the outside looking in, people think sometimes that it's got to be very structured, and it doesn't have to be when we're discussing, because I get to learn as well, and you know, it's an exchange of kind of thoughts, opinions, and skills on this kind of series. But touching on accountability, you mentioned that, you schedule meetings even though you're working together, even though you may be in the same space. Well, sort of, you've got your own office now. Right. So, can you, and there's a reason why I'm asking. So just to give some people some background, I know Nikki, and Nikki is amazing at being accountable and setting up accountability groups. And I joined one of her groups, and I'm hoping that she kind of expands it more, because you all will benefit from what Nikki has to offer in that region of her skill set. And it was a small group of us. And just to give you kind of background, we had a spreadsheet that we would record all our goals on for each month and be accountable for them. And then we would meet up and talk about them. And in theory, it was like, yeah, I've got this. I need it. I'm going to do it. And I did it. But it changed my whole life. It started to like help me, you know, manifest things and help me kind of be accountable for my team authentically, not just like, yeah, I'll get back to you tomorrow. I literally was really like very engrossed with this spreadsheet. And I don't know if you remember, Nikki, you was like, Mommy, wow, you're really going for it. And I was really engrossed. So I just kind of want to explore that with you a bit more, and find out how you kind of, look at accountability and the methods you use. And so let's talk about that.
Oh yeah, so we beyond the meetings, what we did is we sat down with each other, and we actually do have a mentor as well. So one of the mantras that we have with our mentor is about starting with the end in mind. And that we have what our goal with our business is, and it's a 3-year plan. So we don't think, when we're starting, literally it's getting a blank piece of paper and literally just writing down on there, what is it that we want to achieve with this? And it could be absolutely anything. We can't even really question each other. We just have to just roll with it, and just see what comes out in this session. Because even though we are together and as a couple, we've got very different interests and and all that sort of stuff. So let's just chuck it down on a piece of paper. But luckily, you know, as we've been together for such a long time, it doesn't necessarily go without saying, but we are really aligned. I suppose that's probably what gives us the strength to kind of be in such a long-term relationship. We're really aligned in a lot of what we want to achieve, etc. So we chucked it all on a piece of paper, and then we decided, right, off that, how do we now prioritize our steps in order to achieve that 3-year goal? So we then went through that. We then created shorter plans and stuff like that. Then we've broken it down into years, and now we've broken it down into quarters. So we know what we're trying to achieve. And then what we do is we use a tool called Trello, and I think you use that as well, don't you? So we use Trello, and have basically tried to make that work for us as much as possible. So we work in 2-week sprints. So we'll have a meeting. We write down everything we're going to achieve, assign a person. At the beginning, we weren't assigning because there was a little bit like, hold on a second, I've got to
do this. Oh yeah. There's a little, I know that feeling.
Then once we got, because I think also very importantly, when you are working with your partner, a lot of it is you've got to talk about, you know, your roles and responsibilities. So there's going to be things I'm going to do, there's going to be things that he's better at doing, so we've got to sort of split those things over. And then there's going to be the column of stuff that nobody wants to do. So we're still
and then you've got to toss a coin, perhaps, maybe.
so that was cool. So we work in these 2-week sprints, and that just makes us accountable to it, because, you know, weekly is too much, but you like 2 weeks, there's enough time to get something done. And then we're always reviewing our processes and our systems to make sure that, are we being realistic about what we're trying to achieve? But also that still needs to be done. So it could be that you're putting in extra hours in the evenings, on the weekends. Well, we always are anyway, because if you live and work at home, you're always at work, basically. So those are the kinds of systems that we use. And like I said, we do have a mentor as well. And we've got other sort of business advisors and stuff. So we're always sort of tapping into them to sense check what we're doing and what we're trying to achieve, and just making sure that we're getting the best business advice to set us up to be able to achieve what we're trying to achieve. I
love it. It sounds very, very thorough and well thought through. It's amazing the way how, you've just kind of, the two of you have realized your strengths and you're using that to your advantage. I mean, in a similar situation, I am one of the co-founders, as you obviously know. And then there's Sam. So we work together as partners. And I think, yeah, we had to go for a mentoring session because Sam is very independent and I work quite collaboratively. So I don't mind kind of buddying up with people and say, should we do this? Should we do that? Whereas she's quite independent and will go off and do her own thing. And we got to a place where it wasn't quite balancing out. So we had a session with Andy, who runs his own angel investment schools. Amazing. And he kind of told us about what you and your partner are doing with sprinting. He said, have a sprint board meeting. We do it every week and it works really well because then, you can take the emotions out. It's quick, it's thorough. You kind of see what everyone's working on and you go from there. So you still do feel like I'm part of the team in my case. And then Sam still gets to be independent. So it works very, very well for us as well.
Brilliant that you've enabled that, because this is the thing, when you're working with very different personalities, how making sure excuse me, that everybody is feeling,
Inclusive. Yeah.
And also appreciated as well, because there's that part too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's such a huge thing. I mean, I've also got women like yourself and Design Maven, who's on at the moment. So hi, Design Maven. She's phenomenal as well. Hopefully she'll come on soon. And you ladies have really helped me as well, because I think it's also important to be able to have a network that you can kind of pick their brain, lean on, and especially other business women. It's so, so important for us.
Do you find that you are trying to reach out to join groups of like-minded women who are in business? Because I don't know about you, but I don't have a huge network of personal friends who are on their own journey, who are business owners. And I think the struggles and the challenges are quite different to if you are in employment, for example. So I don't know if you reach out to anybody like that.
Yeah, I feel like, oh, I lost you. Are you there? Sure. Still me? Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of froze. So I was like, what's going on? Okay. So I think for me, it's definitely been a journey. So I feel like in the very beginning of my journey, I was just mixing business with pleasure, as they say. Like my friends, I was telling them stuff about the business and they didn't get it. And then some people did, or they would sympathize. And then as I started to kind of grow within myself as a business woman, I guess I just started to align towards like-minded women and find myself in, networking with like-minded women. So I find that sometimes opportunity does come to me, or people kind of seek me out. And then I kind of gravitate towards them. And Divine Mavens just said creative have a mix of people in their networks, which is true. So I'm a creative, you're creative. So I find myself talking to loads of creative people, and then sometimes they take their creativity into a business, and then I can have a similar dialogue. And then we have to get all business minded, as we are now discussing, like making sure we're structured, having these accountability sessions and methods and in place. So yeah, I feel like I'm definitely still growing into that. I don't think it ever stops though. I don't think it ever stops. I feel like as you evolve as a businesswoman, your needs change as a businesswoman, and you gravitate towards different types of people for whatever reasons that are relevant to you at that time within your career or business at your business stages. So yeah, it's interesting to kind of think about that. Thank you, Nikki, for making me think, as always.
For you. So do you like, how do you manage if you feel like maybe some people in your team aren't necessarily, at the same sort of pace as you, like how do you manage sort of situations like that?
Yeah, that's been a journey. So, I think in the very early days, I would probably have been quite reactive, like, what's going on? We've got a deadline, because, that's what you think you're meant to do, especially when you're working, I came from, you know, the corporate world as well. And then that's what you think you're meant to do because that's what you see your superiors doing on the job. And then I realized that it was a totally different approach. And I thought, hold on a minute, I'm meant to be leading by example because this is my business. And if I want people to kind of tap into what I'm doing, I have to just lead by example. So that's what I do now. I lead by example the best way I know how. And sometimes I go to like-minded women like yourself or people that I respect. I have a mentor as well, Georgie, who came on a couple of weeks ago. And I will kind of say, what do you think about this? Or what should I do about that? Or
Yeah.
what's this scenario like for you? Or have you encountered this? And it's not necessarily for them to make a decision for me. It's just for me to kind of weigh things up and then kind of allow my instincts to kick in and
Right.
lead. So
Right.
I allow my instincts ultimately to make the decision.
Mm.
I have got to a point now where I can clearly take my emotions out. There are occasions where I'm like, right, I'm just going to have a moment to scream. And then, you know, I come back. But generally, yeah, I separate the emotions out. And I think that's the best way because then I'm a lot more clear-headed. And I also, which like yourself, I'm, well, we're a wellness business as well, apart from being a beauty business. So wellness is very important to me. I advocate it. I'm a wellness coach. I talk to people about keeping healthy. So the last thing I want to do is kind of like have us all infighting and then our wellness is compromised.
Yeah.
So I ask, you know, if someone is responsible for a task, for example, are you capable of doing it? You
Yeah.
know, right now in the way you're feeling, are you capable to complete this task?
Right.
And even if I can see that they're not sure, then I'm like, let's leave it. I'd rather the deadline be late than someone compromise their health, especially in this day and age. So yeah, wellness is a big thing for me too.
That's a
Yeah.
good. The not being.
Mm.
I think I'm getting so much better at that, and actually, you just get better results at the end of the day, don't you?
Yes,
It's
you do.
a moment and not responding straight away. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And then you get time to reflect and time for yourself. And I feel like, you know, we do get quite a bit of a hard deal as entrepreneurs. We feel like we've just got to perform all the time and give, give, give. And we do have to take a step back for ourselves to kind of rebalance and then come back and implement what needs to be done. So yeah. So I do want to ask you before, you know, we wrap up for lunch, as it were. What other things can we look out from Ruby Ashley? What can we expect? What's going on?
What's coming up? Well, we
What's
have.
coming up?
At the moment, we're working on a bunch of new products that are coming soon. So stay tuned for the new things that are coming. I'm quite excited about the new stuff that's coming through. So we've got a plan for that. We're also going to be launching our website because, as you are aware, we're mainly Amazon based.
Mhm.
Getting lots of demand from people
Mhm.
saying to buy directly from us, which is absolutely fine. So we kind of want to start building that web store, and then we're looking maybe in the next sort of 6 months to be selling internationally as well. So that's also the other benefit of being on Amazon, is that, you know, to set up and start selling in like globally, US, wherever is accessible to you. So yeah, exciting stuff on the horizon, lots of work to do, but really looking forward to getting stuck in. Well, yeah. And how
Yeah,
about you?
no, you've got that covered, Nikki. You're just a whiz when it comes to being organized and just I love it. I'm always trying to invisibly look over your shoulder and be like, what is she doing? What can I learn? So you're amazing at what you do.
If I'm not,
So mm,
I can't cope. It's
yeah,
one of those things that if I'm not organized, then everything goes to pot. So
I mean, I totally agree. As much as I am a creative deep down inside, I'm a stickler for the rules and being organized. You have to be in business anyway. It would just won't work for you if you're not to a degree. And that's the reality. At the moment, we are currently reviewing our website and making sure that we make some tweaks here
right.
and there and really just engage with our audience, with customers, and let them know a little bit about myself, obviously, which I hope now people now know, and also about the community back home, and just looking at different things from we couldn't go out for harvest this year, So we'll be getting, yeah, because of what's going on and everything like that, we kind of just thought, you know what, let's just see how it goes. Maybe, hopefully, maybe at the end of summer, who knows? But those of you that are on our newsletter will be able to see more of how Harvest evolves while we're not there. We're going to be sending pictures and hopefully some videos about how shea butter is cultivated and more on the women that help us produce the shea butter that everyone enjoys. So yeah, that's what we're kind of
And
up to.
is it mainly women that help with the production side of things?
Yes, traditionally it's women. It's always been that way. It's not because, you know, the men don't want to get involved. It's basically comes from, I would say, more of our ancient principles. So as young women, we would go through initiation known as the puberty rites, and during this kind of process, you would see young girls being taught how to farm and forage so that they could bring these goods back into their home. When they became women, then they could share these beauty secrets and knowledge with their family and the rest of the community. So the typical healers are women. Obviously,
Yeah.
the chefs are women. The farmers are mainly women. Yeah. So, and the men kind of do a lot of the lifting. They do stuff, but I feel like that it's been handed over to the women for a good enough reason, and it's not a sexism thing. It just works that way, and
Yeah.
I've been able to benefit from it. So I'm really grateful it is the women.
That's super interesting. It's super interesting. You're mainly women-based business as well, aren't you?
Yes.
In the business, this side,
Yeah.
production side. Brilliant.
We have one general manager who is a guy, so he kind of we kind of, well, we don't feel sorry for him to be honest. He just mucks in. So we have a general manager in Ghana who's a man, and he's grown up with, you know, the extended family, so he's been taught a lot of things as well. So it's nice to have that balance. And it's mainly women over here as well, but we cater to men and women, so it's not just exclusive to women too.
No, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, Nikki, for your time today. You've been an absolute pleasure. Guys, please check out Ruby Ashley. Her stationery company is amazing. There's a lot of cards and, you know, little knickknacks that you can get for loved ones and send your love and express gratitude in many ways. So check her out on Amazon. You'll see amazing reviews, and check her Instagram out as well. So I look forward to seeing you all next week, and happy Wellness Wednesday. Thank you. Thank you, Nikki. Bye.
Take care.
Bye. You too. Bye.